Welcome to the Navigator podcast. Welcome to the Navigator podcast. My name is Brad Malone, and with me today is Brad Dempsey from Solutions 360. Welcome, Brad.
Good morning, Bradley.
So again, we're on a series of kind of metrics and how to build the principles of maturity into companies. And one of the key conversations I always have from my project management background is really, how do I understand project progress, but also from your perspective, how do we play with both the pipeline, project progress, forecasting labor, all those kind of things. Tell me a little bit about why you find that important, and then how do you differentiate it?
Well, if you look at status, which is a typical metric that people look at, that's a point in time. It doesn't really tell you what's going to happen or what has happened. We believe in looking at the project life cycle, which is your pipeline, your backlog, and your forecast. So you've got an entity that has something coming into it, you have a reservoir, and then you're executing on the other end of that. And I think one of the other things to remember about that is that that circle also represents your ability to create better success, because good estimation leads to good execution. And good execution leads to a bigger pipeline. So it is a circle that completes.
Right. And I agree with you on status. And I talk to people many times. It's like, well, we're going to have a status meeting. And I'm like, well, I'd rather we have a progress meeting. Because what typically happens, in that hour meetings, we talk about status and we find out in the hour that we're behind. And then we have about 10 minutes at the end to go, oh my God, what are we going to do now? And then we go, oh, meeting over. So I always like people to come with what's your progress and what are we going to do about it? So what's left, what you've accomplished and how much it took to accomplish, that's nice, but I should see that in other data. It's what do I have left and what's the plan to stay on target and to stay within the thresholds that's key.
Yeah, very true.
Why is backlog important and why should people use it?
Well, backlog is that guaranteed business that we have to finish, and it's guaranteed revenue. Backlog is what we've sold, which is contracted. We have some legal obligation with a client, minus what we've actually earned. Okay. So this is work basically we have in-house in the reservoir ready to do, and that represents a body of work that we can use to do forecasting and management into the future.
Using the term reservoir, I would think that, and we'll just go with that metaphor, right. With the pipeline, we may also see that the spring rains are coming and our reservoir is going to explode. So do you see organizations, again, really working between sales and ops to manage that as proactively as possible? Or do you still see companies where ops is surprised and it's like our reservoir is going to explode and now we have to hire, now we have to do overtime? So the two, like you said, it's a circle, but it's having these rational conversations across silos that's key.
We've talked in a number of these sessions about mature companies versus younger companies or immature companies. And I think a lot of what we want to talk about is how do we get those immature companies to move towards what the mature companies, the successful ones that we work with, are doing. And when you look at a mature company, they really value the whole concept of forecasting. When they're putting together a sales forecast, it's not necessarily just to keep track of where the salespeople are and what they're up to. It's a leading indicator to operations and to finance. And the mature companies understand that, and the kind of information they're gathering in the sales forecast flows into the types of labor, the types of material, and the types of work that they think they'll be doing in the future. That allows them to think about things like looking for new labor, hiring new people, or adjusting the labor force or getting a different type of labor skill before they actually need it.
Right. Well, and cash flow is key to that also. It's again, yes. if all these projects hit, do we need to go use our line of credit? Or do we have any left? Again, when do we invoice? Do we need to do deposit invoices? So again, it's that mature cross-functional perspective where we have one set of data, but many people are looking at it from their perspective to gain information and key decision making.
I mean, truly mature companies understand that forecasting and planning is not an exact science, right. But what makes a forecast very powerful is the ability to make adjustments on the fly, because then
Well,
you've
that's
always
that.
got your eye on the ball. Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
again, it's if we start with pipeline, it's sales really updating their pipeline, not just for their benefit, but for the rest of the organization's benefit. And again, if we talk about that circle, the better we run our projects, the better we close our projects, the more referrals we get, the more repeat business we get. So it's really that whole concept needs to be played out. And again, I think that the Q360 is a tool that helps that. Now we have to have the people actually use it to its fullest capabilities.
Well, that's why we work with you, so you can instill that discipline
Well,
and
thank
that
you.
education. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.